get it. Let me tell you, this topic on bearings is really used by, I think, those people who are at sea. Okay, for those of you who like to go to sea, they will normally use the bearings to tell the direction. So most fishermen or most, if next time if the boys you go to the Navy, this is your bread and butter. Right? You want to steer the ship, they will always use bearings. The topic is easy because this is something that everyone can understand. Because if you are in primary school, all you need to know is 360 degrees, that's it. There are a couple of rules for bearings that you need to take note of. The first one is that bearings are always given to you in 3 digits, not 2. So let's say you want to measure an angle of 20 degrees. You don't say 20 degrees, it's 020. So the very first thing you must take note is that bearings is a 3-figure number. Okay, it's actually stated here, but it's relatively small. But make sure you take note. Okay, it's a 3-figure number. The second important thing is that bearings is always measured from the north. Okay, bearings is always measured from the north. I don't know whether if any one of you have ever been to sea. If I drop you in the middle of the ocean without you seeing the nearest island, you're just right there, it's right smack in the middle of the ocean. Chances are you have no idea where is your left, where is your right. When you are here, you can say, turn left to go to next, turn right to go to maybe, I don't know where, Serangoon Gardens. But when you're in the middle of the sea, you really have nothing to guide you. You only have one thing, which is the compass. So, the people actually came up with the one thing, which is called the compass. Whenever they want you to steer in a particular direction, they will always do it with reference to north. So for those of you here who have never used a compass before, which I will assume most of you here, how many of you here have used a compass before? One of you will use compass. Okay, so I need to tell you what a compass is, right? A compass actually, not that compass, not that compass, okay? Not the mathematical compass. That is where it got its name from, to tell the direction, right? But the compass is really like a watch like that, like a circle looking thing, and then you watch in movies, they will open it up, and then there will be a needle that will try to seek the point you wherever the direction may be. Okay? And all you need to know okay, the compass, you can actually draw it down, which is actually pretty important, which you need to know The top one is always north. North. Okay, so the top of the compass is always north, and the bottom would be south. North, south. This is the east, and this is the west. So sometimes when people say that, like Serangoon, right, Pechai is in the northeast of Singapore. Because if you imagine that this is a map of Singapore, sorry, I cannot draw the map, I also don't know how it looks like, but this is definitely not Singapore. But let's say if this is the map of Singapore, then Singapore would, Serangoon would be somewhere here. Okay, the northeast. Okay? Then of course Central will be right in the middle. Okay, so this is what a compass is like. The second thing you need to know about bearings is that compass is always measured with reference to the north. That means if you want to, let's say you are at the center over here. Okay, let's say you are right at the center over here. You want someone to move to maybe this direction. You want him to move in this direction. So you have to tell him, hey, I want you to move in the bearings of 45 degrees. Why? Because it's always with reference to the north. I want you to move 45 degrees. Okay? If you want someone to go towards the west, let's say you want someone to go over here. Okay, if you want someone to go over here, then remember it's always measured with reference to the north. Okay, it's always measured with reference to the north. And it is like a clock. Clock goes clockwise. Right, so the angle would be 90, 180, 270. Okay, so you must tell the person, I need you to go to a bearings of 270. Now this is something that seems easy, but when you try for the first time, you might get a little confused. So don't worry, we will try to work it out together. But really, bearings is all about this. That's why I say it's deceivingly easy. Okay, because when you first do the first few ones, you will get a little bit confused. Okay, so I'm going to try to guide you along. Now let's look at example number 1. Okay, which is this example over here. Okay. I won't show the question because I want to show the diagram over here, so it's much easier for most of you to actually take a look. Okay, we're going to do the first one. Okay, we're going to do the first one, which we are going to write down the positions of P, Q, and R. We want to state the bearings of Q from P. Okay, so we're going to look at the first one, Q from P. But actually, before I begin, sorry, let me go through this example first. Maybe it'll be a lot clearer before we actually jump. Okay, before we actually jump. Let's look at this example. The bearings of A from O. Now, how would we try to approach this question? The most important one is the back one. When you see from where. So you can either highlight it, underline it. This is the most important, from O. Okay? So the very first thing, that once they give you from O, you must draw the true north line. Okay, on the point O, you must draw the true north line. Now here, in this question, it is drawn for you, but in the exam, it will not be drawn for you. So you must draw this cross. Once you draw this cross, trust me, things become a lot easier. Okay, things suddenly become a lot easier. Okay, so they tell us that the bearing of A from O is 35 degrees, so we know that if we go in a clockwise direction from the true north line, this one will be 35 degrees. That's what it means. Okay, that's what it means. Then the next one, the bearing of O from A. From A, that means we need to look at point A, and also same thing, we need to draw the true north line. Okay, we need to draw the true north line. This one is the north. And since the bearing of O from A, that means from A means from this point, you want to go to the point O. And remember, you always start from the true north line. Always, this is point A, you just go a little bit higher. You ask yourself what is the degree that you have to go until you hit this line. So here, 90, 180, and 35. That's why the answer is 180 plus 35. One more thing to note about bearings is that it always links to your set 1 work. This one concept, which you must always look out for. Bearing question always has. The thing is alternate angles. Okay, the relationship of alternate angles will always appear. Okay, so it is not in your worksheet, but I think it's worth to go through and write it down somewhere so that you will not forget. Alternate angles, what does it mean? It means that, let's say you will have north lines that are parallel to one another. Just take note, all the north lines are all parallel to one another. Okay? All the north lines are parallel to one another. So very often you can have a bearing line which could be like this, over here. The alternate angle tells us that this angle, let's call this angle theta, is equals to this angle theta. Both of it are the same. Okay? The reason is theta is equals to theta, or let's make it theta 1 is equals to theta 2, because of alternate angles between parallel lines. Okay, this is a very, very important relationship that you must know. Alternate angles, it will definitely come out, it will definitely be tested. Okay, and very occasionally, sometimes they may even need you to know what is the interior angles. What does it mean? Let me give you another angle over here. This is angle theta 3. I know that theta 1 plus theta 3 is equals to 180. How do I know that? Anyone of you remember? It's a sec 1 word also. Interior angles between parallel lines. Okay, interior angles between parallel lines. These are the only two relationships that you need to know in order to do bearings. If you know these two concepts very well, and the 3 things that I told you earlier, bearings come in 3 digits, they always go clockwise, it always starts from the true north. You will be able to do all the bearings questions. You will find that none of the questions are hard. But if you don't understand any of those, then you might find some difficulty in some of the questions. Okay, let's look at example number 1 now. The first thing that we're going to do is Q from P. Okay, so the keyword here is from P. So please do along with me. So since it's from P, we're going to identify where P is. They are very, very good to us, they have actually drawn the true north line for us at the point P, right? They've already drawn the true north line. So here we don't have to draw. Okay? So from P, go to where? Q, right? So we know that if we are at point P, we want to get to point Q, we are going to go clockwise. And remember I told you just go slightly above that line and ask yourself, if this one from the true north line, if it goes down all the way to Q, what is the degree that it goes to? 36. But if you put down 36 in an exam, I'll mark you wrong. Why? 3 digits. Correct. Okay, so the first one is 0, 3, 6 degrees. That's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, please try to do along, try to think along. If you think you got it, try to move along. Don't have to wait for me. Okay, the second one is P from Q. From Q. Now, wonderful. Now it's time for us to put our thinking cap. Okay, so here I'm going to draw a true north line over here. At point Q. I don't need to draw a very big one, but I need to draw a decent one. Over here, this is the true north line. Okay, whenever it says from where, I will draw a true north line from there. So they want me to find the bearing of P from Q. That means the question is asking me, okay, the question is asking me, hey, you know what? If I have to go from this angle all the way to this angle, what is the blue one? Okay, the question is asking me, if I have to go from the true north line, from this Q all the way to this line, P, what is this angle over here? The first thing you help yourself is that you know that this one, here to here is a straight line. So this one is 180, right? This one is 180. But the question is, what is this remaining angle over here? This is where many of you will struggle. Whenever you struggle with this one, immediately I want you to think, do you see two sets of parallel lines? So do you see a pair of parallel lines? Yes, you do. This is parallel to this. And you see a transversal through. Alternate means you look up for a Z relationship. Okay? Alternate, you look up for a Z relationship. So do you know what is this angle over here? My question to you is, do you know what is this angle over here? Okay? Alternate angles between parallel lines. Okay, can you try for yourself? So this one should be what? Z. This is Z. So this is 36, so this one must be 36 as well. Okay? So to help yourself out, let me shade it for you. This yellow one over here. Okay, this yellow one over here is 36 degrees. I think people at the back cannot see. I use a different color. Let me use purple. Okay, so I can see that. I hope you are following along. Okay, so we see that this one is also 36 degrees because of alternate angles. Okay, because of alternate angles, can you see that there's this Z relationship over here? Okay, there's a Z relationship. So this one is equals to that one. Alternate angles, your set 1 work. Okay, so let's quickly do this question. So P from Q. Okay, so P from Q. So we start from point Q. So we know that the answer must be 180 plus 36. So what's the answer? 180 plus 36 is 216 degrees. Okay, like I say again, if you think you are okay with this, you can move on. Okay, but if you are not, I'll go a bit slower. Okay, we'll go at a slower pace because really bearings is all about this. This is the last chapter already. I need you guys to understand. I got 3 more minutes. Let me try to at least go through one more. Okay, let me try to go through one more. Next one, the bearing of R from P. From P is the key word over here. So since from P, I need to go back to P. The true north line has already been drawn for us. Right, the true north line has already been drawn for us. This one. Right? So from P go where? R. Where is R? Here. This is R. So they want us to find out what is this angle over here. Okay, they want us to find out what is this angle over here because it's always from the true north line. You go clockwise to the point R. 2 angles have already been given to us. So this one is actually pretty easy. I don't think I need to explain too much, right? So this one for part C is just 36 plus 37. So 36 plus 37 is 73 degrees. Okay, 73 degrees. I think I can go for one more. P from R. Now, from R is the key word here that I want to look out for. From R. So can you do yourself a favor? Go and draw a true north line at point R. If you don't draw, it's very hard to see. Okay, including myself. Okay, unless you are a mathematical genius. If not, it can be very difficult for you to see. Okay, so I draw a true north line over here. From R, where do I need to be? Okay, I want to go to point P. That means this question is asking me, hey, how do I find out this angle to here? How do I get there? Okay, so this one is a little tricky one. Okay, this one is a little tricky. Ah, yes. Thank you very much. This one, if in an exam, you'll be wrong. Okay, this one, 3 digits, 073. Okay, before I go on, I don't want to leave your question hanging over here. For some of you who are stuck on this one, no idea how to continue, I give you a clue. Okay, this one, can you use can you use interior angles? Or actually no, this one you can either use interior angles or you can use alternate angles. Okay? If you want to use alternate angles, you can. Let me show you which alternate angle am I talking about. There is this Z relationship over here. Okay? Or there is this Z relationship over here. You are flexible. So if this is 73 that we have found earlier, I think you know how to find this angle over here. It is the same. Right? Then you will be able to do this question. That's why I say this question, actually, most of the time you can just use alternate angles. Okay, most of the time you can look for alternate angles. Look for two parallel lines, and you will be able to do this question. Okay, anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll stop the lesson over here.